I think it's something that we're definitely focusing on this offseason. Just kind of
Dude, get some stuff here.
Okay, so we're listening to Zeke, and Matt is going to show Ed how to download a GIF onto his phone so he can tweet it out.
By the way, our Patreon insiders, Ed, turn it down, Frito, if you don't mind. And at some point, Frito, do a selfie so people can see what you look like. Our producer, Frito, long time radio.
You sure you want to do that? There's a reason he's been in radio all his life.
This is a good point.
We're trying to explain to Ed how to take a transfer, like some artwork, and then be able to tweet that. Now,
From Chris Morris, who's our most talented member of this podcast.
I mean, some would say that. I mean, I would argue with that.
You'd argue with anybody who says you're not the best.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Okay, I'm seeing all these like tweets and texts that Ed's getting from
I think
people
you're
I
going
don't
through all
know.
my pictures, and that was never authorized.
But now here's the thing, Ed. Now Patreon is this really cool thing where we're going to give sort of our insiders. They're people actually that will pay their own hard-earned money to gain sort of extra insight and extra. So like as
how do you know they've earned this money?
I don't know.
Maybe they came into it. Maybe
stole
they stole
the money.
it.
They inherited it. Whatever.
Maybe
But
they're on welfare, government support.
I don't know. No, that's fine. However they however they've obtained this money, I'm fine with, as long as it's not completely illegal. But Patreon, we're excited to have you. Now, Ed, just for our Patreon, I like to call them insiders. We could say users,
Audience?
subscribers.
How about patrons?
Oh.
Patreon patrons?
No, that's good. That's good. Now, some of these folks that are new to us might wonder, well, why does Mosley have sunglasses on? It's a fair question.
Because he thinks he's big
They're
time.
prescription sunglasses. I get used to this. This is what I look like without them.
Yeah, put them on.
Okay. This is what I look like with them. Now, this side of them, not many people can see this, I actually set this on my wife's curling iron, and it burned a hole in them, and I haven't. And if you go to Lens Crafters, I'm doing free advertisements. If you go to one of these sort of discount eyeglass places, they won't give you just one lens. They make you buy both lenses. So anyway, I'm in the process of replacing them, but I'm upset because I feel like I should be able just to replace one lens.
So like when you go to the store, should you be able to buy one sock?
That's a fair question. But I think at a high-end lens crafter type place where they can, well, I don't know how high-end it is, but hey,
There goes that advertising.
yeah, please advertise on the Doomsday podcast. But welcome our patrons on Patreon, Jordan, everybody.
Is that the only physical imperfection you're going to explain?
I'll do mine.
I'll do mine next week.
Yeah, exactly.
Next week, yeah.
By the way, but while we have our folks here, and we're gonna upload this. I have no clue how to do this, but I hope Frito does. We'll put our URL
For the
and
prices
then
we're
upload
paying,
it
you would think.
on the 25 load. That's all made up. But did anything catch your eye? It was good to see you. We're both sponsored by Travis Matthew. Did anything about this is going to sort of exclusive material to our patrons, the Patreon folks. Is there anything that really stood out to you? We got to go out there. There was the mini camp. We were there day one, kind of observing. We certainly had some good interviews, and you're going to hear that, obviously, with our Zeke Elliott. Anything stand out to you, Ed, as we just sort of observed day one of Cowboys mini camp?
Well, I think it's hard to tell anything about, like the offensive linemen, Lael Collins playing right tackle and Jonathan Sullivan being looked at left guard and as backup center. Those positions require a certain amount of, physical ability.
I think it's Jonathan Cooper.
Cooper.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to tell anything of consequence. But I think you can look at the DBs and you can get a sense of their coverage abilities. And I thought Jordan Lewis had a couple of good days. So yeah, I think you can tell a little bit about those guys. I guess
third round pick, by the way, Jordan Lewis out of Michigan in number 27.
And most people think that he's a slot corner primarily, but they've been using him outside, so that's an interesting arrangement because I really think that Orlando Scandrick is best suited to play the slot, even though he thinks he's their best corner and should play as a starter outside. I think with some of the mismatches they're looking at in terms of size with the new receivers in the NFC East, that he's better suited to be inside.
Given around draft, the rumors that they were maybe looking to move Orlando Scandrick, do you think some of that might come up again during training camp, a possible movement with Orlando Skandrick, or do you sense that he is here to stay?
I mean, I would think they would want to keep him because these young guys are unknowns. And he's unique in his ability to play the slot, I think. I think he's a valuable guy. They think he is. They paid him that way. I think he outlasted a $50 million cornerback in Brandon Carr and a guy who was a 6th overall pick in Mo Claiborne. So obviously I think he has a lot of value to them, probably more to them than he has to somebody else, not knowing if somebody good loses a corner and the Cowboys are willing to make a trade. But your slot corner is going to be on the field 70% of the time.
Yeah. One thing, a name that's come up with quite a bit, and this will be kind of my final point to the Patriots.
I think Frito's arm's getting tired of holding it.
I know. Hey, we can get
He's
you.
He's not a strong man.
I'll buy you a little tripod. Oh, there's a tripod. Why aren't you using that?
Come back. The video that must be.
Come back to me. Come in for a close up if you don't mind. This was a 2-shot for those in the TV business. Let's come in for a 1. A 1 shot.
This is a Sal Palantonio shot here.
This is Sal's favorite shot. I'm concerned, and I want to get in. You can do a 2-shot when Ed comes back in here. I'm concerned that every time I go out there, whether it's OTAs or whether it's minicamp, that a guy I've read and heard a lot about, and I watched play basketball all the way through college because he went to my alma mater. I don't know why Rico Gathers is missing so many of these. And so maybe there's a total explanation. People have bragged on him. He certainly seems to have had a nice offseason. But Eddie wasn't there the other day, and we kind of asked around. And, we talked to Scott Linehan. You'll hear from him next week. But it's kind of...
You talked about your eye problem. That's apparently what he had, too. He has a pink eye is what he claims kept him out of the last 2
I just thought it was
2 days. But it's an important time for him. This is their last mini camp before they go to training camp. And he's going to have an opportunity to get on the field with, Swaim working his way back from an injury.
Hannah
always seemingly being injured, and Jason Witten being in his 15th year. I mean, there's an opportunity for Gathers to get on the field and be a part of it.
Where's Escobar?
He's in Kansas City.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Seems like Kansas City likes big, tall.
If they had a few, huh?
Tight ends. Yeah.
I mean, like Tony Gonzalez and Kelsey. And...
That's a little better. Those names you're mentioning are a little better than the Escobar, but they do like the big, rangy, sort of basketball playing
Gonzalez
tight end.
was a basketball player. Gonzalez was a basketball player.
I know. I'm saying those are high quality players.
I wasn't comparing them to Escobar. I was making the point. This is the last time I try to support one of your points.
All right. Hey, thanks, Patreon. We're glad to have you.
Good to have a teammate.
Follow us. By the way, it's Doomsday /
You are terrible.
Patreon. We'll get that news. We'll get that for you. Back at you.